This podcast is brought to you by BestBonobos, the AI-powered platform that helps you sell your small business yourself.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Business Owners Unfiltered. Today, I am your co-host, Cassidy, and we're joined by our host, Sebastian. Hi, Sebastian.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. And our guest today is going to be Bob Graham, CEO of SpearPoint Ink. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited.
Yes, exactly. We're so glad to have you, especially with all of your experience as a CEO. So we can't wait to get started asking you some questions and drilling you today.
Go ahead. I used to be a journalist, so it's awkward for me to be the one receiving questions, but I will try my best.
Sounds great. We're going to be switching ends today.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
Yeah, of course. Well, you built your career, started out helping founders turn their ideas into books and authority assets. How did you get started in that space?
So it's funny. It's a long journey, and it actually starts with journalism. I was a journalist about 40 years ago. That's what I studied in college. My dream in the 80s was to be like a high-level executive at a newspaper. And you may have noticed, you're a little younger than me, but newspapers have taken some turns in the last 40 years.
Just a little bit.
I pivoted a couple times in my career. I went from journalism to marketing and public relations, and then I did some teaching of college writing courses, and then I was doing small business coaching. And through the last 10, 15 years, I'd helped some people with books because I'm a writer. And they come to me and be like, will you edit my book? Can you proofread my book? My book doesn't work. And I did that, and I helped a friend with a book, and we went to lunch one Friday a couple years ago, and he said, you know, this is your jam. You need to do this. And I was like, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. That was on Friday. The next Monday, all weekend I thought about it. I'm like, this is really not the worst idea I've ever heard. Monday morning, I rebrand as SpearPoint Ink, and I'm off to the races. And what started it, and this is what I think he didn't know, but I knew, was back when I was a journalist, I'd have to write stories about new businesses in the small community I worked in. And I'd go to the owner to write this story. He's got this stage where he's going to be in the local paper. It's like a big deal. And I'd ask a simple question. So like, what got you to start your business? Oh, well, my wife said I had to get out of the house. I got fired from my last 3 jobs. I had to do something with my time. And I'm like, how am I going to write a story about this guy? And as I've gone in my career, I've noticed that business people overwhelmingly cannot tell their story in a way that reaches the people they need to reach. And that's, you could say that's marketing, but I think it's actually before marketing. I see marketing as 2 parts. One is, what are you going to tell people? And 2 is, what are you going to use to tell them? Right now we're using a podcast to tell them. It could be email. It could be any number of things. But if you use the best of tools, so I've got a perfect email campaign system, beautiful. If the messaging isn't right, if the story doesn't resonate with people, if it feels off, it will not work. Yeah, and I see people spending thousands of dollars on marketing, and it doesn't go anywhere. And they're like, oh, email doesn't work. Oh, cold calling doesn't work. Well, yeah, if you're not saying the right thing to the right people, it's never going to work.
So what you're saying is marketing isn't getting the message out, but it's getting the right message out.
I think it's being clear what the message is, and then the tools to get it out come along logically. So I deal with entrepreneurs and CEOs. Well, guess what? You have a podcast for that. I have a message that I hope today is going to resonate. Ideally, someone hears this message and goes, oh, wow, I've never thought about a book. This guy sounds interesting. I think I'm going to call this guy. I mean, you know, and I know that's exactly what this is all about.
Yep, it is.
But I know who my target is. So if you were a group of, divorced women that do yoga together, hey, we'd love to have you come speak to us, Bob. It wouldn't be high on my priority list. I wouldn't block that time out. Be like, yeah, if I'm bored on a Friday, I might do that. When you guys came calling, it's like, how soon can we do it? How soon? In fact, how soon do I want it to be done? I was there I was 8 days early.
Yeah.
Because you have my target audience. And what I find with a lot of my clients is before we can even talk about the book, it's like, well, who are you trying to reach? Well, anyone who has a credit card, anyone with a lot of money, anyone that uses, Instagram. Okay, well, that narrows it down to everyone.
everyone.
And so how do you have a message that appeals to everyone? Because it's like dating, right? You go on dates. Some people it works, some people it doesn't. And as you do more of it, you start to go, oh, you know what? People that are in this area, like, they get me. And so we don't think about it that way. And I've taught marketing, I've taught consumer behavior, I've studied marketing. It's not taught this way. It just isn't. And it hurts business.
It does, yeah. So during your career, you made a step towards the job you're doing right now. And you've learned quite a lot because you came from journalism, teaching, PR, marketing. What is the biggest lesson you learned that you apply yourself today?
No one knows what they're doing.
That's absolutely true.
I mean, I used to think that these successful people had it all figured out. What I've learned from coaching, probably more than anything else, is the CEOs that I coach have it figured out for about 3 seconds, and then the next problem comes. And there's always that fear that, well, if this changes, if I lose a key employee, my business is going to struggle. If the tariffs come into play, my business is going to struggle. And we're seeing right now in a lot of the world that the cost of fuel is going up right this minute. And that's really affecting a lot of businesses. I just saw the U.S. Postal Service is charging an 8% upcharge on all packages because of their fuel costs. So that's their response. So you're never going to have this perfect situation where, like, okay, I'm Sebastian, I figured it out. Now I can sit and collect my millions.
I don't think that's the reason why you became an entrepreneur, because that's the strength of most entrepreneurs. They can adapt to every new situation.
If someone had told me that 15 years ago when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I probably wouldn't have done it. That would have really turned me off about it. But that's the reality, yes.
It is the truth, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I also think when I'm helping people tell their story, they often go, I never really connected the dots. I never realized that thing that I did in 9th grade, that I just thought I did in 9th grade, connects to my career choices.
No, because it's like a second nature to an entrepreneur.
Exactly. We don't know about ourselves. You know, we know ourselves, but we don't know what appeals about ourselves to the other person. And what I'm really good at is finding those touch points and highlighting them and amplifying them. So the person, it's not them making it up. You know, some people call what I do ghostwriting. It's not, hey, Bob, write a book for me. It's, hey, Bob, I'm going to explain to you what I do, who I do it for, ask me a whole bunch of questions, and then let's figure out how best to convey that information to a specific person or group of people so that they want to actually make a change in their life. Notice, I didn't say buy from you. They want to make a change in their life. And this is the other thing I've noticed with books, most business books. They want to solve the problem. They just want to solve the problem. So you get a book and it's like, I have a lawyer I'm talking to, an estate lawyer. He gave me a 400-page book that he wants to publish. It's like a law book. He's like, I want consumers to read this so they understand how to do their estate and their will. Okay, that's great. Here's the problem. They don't want to do their estate and will. They don't want to go to law school. He spent 400 pages proving to himself that he was smart enough to write the book about the law of estate law.
So the thing
I'm hoping to work with him on a book that focuses more on what are the common problems people have with putting together their estate, and what are some situations where he's helped them do that, so that the person reads the book I help him write, and goes, ooh, that's me. Whoa, I got to make a change. And when they're ready to make that change, if you're the one that helped them better understand their problem, then you're the person they're going to go to
solve
right?
the problem.
Sebastian, this is why you and I talk. I think I've shown you I understand things about your ideal client.
You do.
And I've shared some insights with you that you go, wow, it's worth my time to talk to Bob. I want to have Bob on my podcast.
Yeah.
That's because I know your audience well in terms of what you're trying to build. And most of us don't have that. We're on our own.
After speaking with hundreds of entrepreneurs yourself and being an entrepreneur, how have you throughout all of this process learned to be able to tailor specific messaging to specific markets, not only coming from or going to different markets or different consumers, but also just coming from different entrepreneurs, their different businesses and their different stories? I know that's got to be a lot of work around to be able to tailor that messaging specifically.
Well, it's funny. I've now worked on 4 different financial planner books, and they all talk about the same stuff. They're in the U.S. Delay spending on your Social Security for as long as you can. Diversify your stocks. Don't sell at the wrong times. Make sure you're putting money away every month. It's the same message, but what makes it interesting, what makes all 4 books different, is that the book is embedded with the person's life. So one of my clients, he just released a book in December, and it's called The Binder on the Shelf. And he talks about financial planning because of this binder. His father started the company and had a binder on the shelf, and the binder had all the important information. If something happened to his father, he wanted someone to be able to make sense of the company. Mm-hmm. And now the company has binders that they give to every one of their clients with all the important documents. So you don't have to scramble around. I don't know if you've ever been through a situation where someone dies and you're like, oh my God, where's all the paperwork? Mm-hmm. If you're with this firm, that's it. So that's the connective tissue of that book. Plus, he wrote blog posts about his kids and connected them to financial planning during COVID. And we were able to work those blog posts into the book. So each chapter starts with a story about his child and then how it relates to financial planning. So it's a unique book to him. He's a family guy. It's a family company. And the people that he wants to reach are very family oriented. So that book just naturally appeals to them. And that doesn't mean he doesn't get people who aren't family oriented. Mm-hmm. But if you're family oriented and you get this book, you're like, whoa, this guy's talking my language. I got to talk to Chris.
So what you bring up now is one of the most important pillars of the valuation of a business. How are the processes documented?
Correct.
And what do you notice?
And that's a gap. That's a gap I'm trying to fill in my company because right now it's a company of one. I do have a virtual assistant, but if I'm going to scale, and if most businesses are going to scale, you have to have that process, one, figured out. It can't just be, well, I do it because I'm the owner.
No, you can't
It's got
just
to
wing
be,
it.
this is the process, and I will tell you what I've been using a lot to refine the process is AI. Mm-hmm. Like I walk through, I give AI transcripts of my work and give them the sequence of what happened and then say, help me understand the steps in this, and it comes back with something. It's not perfect, but again, it's doing what I do as helping someone write a book. I'm stepping out of my own head. And the AI is saying to me, hey, Bob, you know what, dude? There's a gap here. Mm-hmm. How do you know what the title should be, Bob? Well, I just know because I've done this a lot. Well, no, I'm sorry, you can't. And it literally said to me a couple weeks ago, I can't replicate what's in your head. AI isn't that good yet. I was like, shoot.
It's a great tool, but it's helping.
It's helping.
Take over.
And it's like what I learned when I learned MS-DOS back in the 70s. Mm-hmm. Garbage in, garbage out. Right? You put good information in, you get good results.
Yeah, but it does help to get you started with documentation and processes.
Correct. Yeah. And I also think a lot of people, I see this from my coaching work, a lot of people hire someone and then build out the job description and the documentation, and that tends to make the person you hire really struggle because they don't know what's expected of them, and the telltale sign is, well, I hired someone and I'm still training them. Oh, how long has it been going on? Oh, 3 months. You can't afford that, and that person's like, get out of my face, just let me do it.
Let me do my job. Yeah.
Because
one of the things you do with your books is showing and building authority. How do you think that authority influences the value of your business?
I think so my definition of authority, let's start there. My definition of authority is that your message carries outside the room you're in. Okay, so it's really easy. When I'm on this call with you right now, I can explain my value real easily. And you go, oh, Bob, this is great. And if you're a potential client, oh, Bob, this sounds really good. I think I might hire you. Let me think about it. You walk out of the room, you go talk to your partner or a friend or someone else, and they're like, oh, so what are you thinking? Oh, I talked to this guy, Bob. He's really great. I think I want to do a book. If you can explain it really succinctly and clearly to that person, they go, that's a great idea. Do it. If you can't, what do? They go, are you sure this is a good idea? Have you thought this through? I never heard you talk about a book before. Well, and so that you lose authority in that regard, and it makes it harder to make the sale. The other piece of authority outside the room is, if I have authority, you, Sebastian, or you, Cassidy, will hear someone say, oh, I've always wanted to write a book, and you'll instantly go, I got the guy you got to talk to.
Yep.
That's authority, and that carries huge weight for your company because that's the engine of growth, because I can only get in front of so many people in a given day. So if I can only be influencing people I'm in the room with, that really limits the growth of my company.
So the word of mouth is important.
Correct. And the authority is powerful with social media. It plays into email campaigns, your website. It's every aspect of your business. So good authority means your message carries, which means your value is going to go up because you're going to grow.
Makes perfect sense.
That's good.
Exactly.
I think that's
And
one
if
of
a
the great
business-
lessons.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just going to add in, if a business owner is thinking about selling their business eventually, how should they start thinking about their authority today?
I think you really have to be honest with yourself. I see that's one of the things that I've learned to be really skilled at, and I learned it teaching college. You know, you'd have this student that wrote a rough draft of a research paper, and it just wasn't quite right, and that was being polite. And I learned how to explain to them, like, hey, does that what was your goal of the first paragraph? Well, I wanted to, oh, really? It doesn't land for me. Really? How long did you take? Well, I kind of wrote it last night, you know. I was out with my friends. Oh, it kind of reads like a drunken paper. Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, I'm really sorry. I just, you know, I think a lot of us with our businesses overestimate the value. And I have a working theory that I've shared with you, Sebastian, which is everyone's value of their business is based on the person who told them the highest number. Absolutely. I had someone who told me, my business is worth 10 million. And I was like, maybe 2. I'm like, oh, who told you? Oh, I've got this guy, you know, he's really good at business. We talk a little longer. Finally, he tells me, it's my bartender. I'm like, oh, was he on Wall Street or does he deal with businesses? No, he's been a bartender. He makes a really great old-fashioned in Manhattan. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm sure when you go out and sell your business, he's going to be a really good valuation person for you, which is why, Sebastian, I love your solution because it gives me information that I can't get easily or affordably anywhere else about what my true value in my business is. 2, it makes me look at my business from the lens of what is saleable. Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, I've been doing this for 40 years. Well, you can do it for 40 years, but if you don't have IP, if you don't have contracts in place with your vendors, if you don't have key employee contracts, if you don't have your marketing clarified, you're not, you know, and you own no property and all those things that come into it, your value isn't what you think it is. And so I think when someone gets that number, if they're honest with themselves, going through your process, which I think when I did, it took me maybe 25 minutes.
Yeah.
In 25 minutes, I could figure out what my business was worth. And the number in my case was higher than I expected, which I was like, you know, oh, wow, this is really, and then I was like, okay, it kind of sparked me like, okay, if my business is worth this, what should I be doing that I'm not with my business? And that really caused me to make some changes in my own business in a positive way. But for other people, I think it's going to be a gut check, like,
Yeah. Well, that's exactly the reason that we included that many questions in the data intake for the valuation. Because if you go online, you can get multiple valuations online by just putting your EBITDA in or your profits, and then it comes up with a rough estimate. But that's not a company value. That's just a value of your profit.
Right. Just like a home value. I get a report on my condo every month that tells me what the value is based on all the other condos in my area, but they're not the same.
No.
And so that number is kind of, on some months it's great number to see. Oh, wow. Other months it's like, oh, crap. And it's all influenced by what bought and sold. And I think most people believe, the other thing I really think that your solution helps is, most people believe that when they're ready to sell their business, someone's just going to they're going to say, I'm ready to sell, and 15 people are going to come screaming to buy it. And they're all going to be like, bidding war. Oh, 2 mil. No, 2.5, 3.7, 9.4, 14 million, 80 million. It doesn't work that way. In the U.S. where I am, we're looking at half the businesses changing ownership in the next 5 to 7 years. That means that they're going to be winners and losers. Some businesses that are not worth what they think they're worth are not going to get the offers, just like some properties sit on the market because they're not in the right location, they're not valuable, they don't have curb appeal and all those things. It's going to be that way with business. And I think American business owners, I don't know about the rest of the world, but American business owners believe that I built this business, everyone wants to buy my business. And the other thing is they think their sweat equity is worth a lot.
Yeah, we all think
it's not. No one cares how many weekends you lost to building your business. No one cares if I work on a book this weekend. My client just wants his book next Friday, ready to go. He doesn't care how I do it. And if I go, I spent 14 weekends last year. Hey, dude, that was your choice. I'm not paying you for that, just like no one's going to pay me for the cost of me painting my house. It was a necessary thing, but there's no value to the person. Yes, it looks nice, but I'm sorry, you're not getting $50 an hour to paint your house. It looks nice. And I think we have that distorted perception because I think so many people became entrepreneurs like me without the foundation. And as a result, they don't understand the steps. And most people aren't thinking exit strategy, which is fascinating to me. I mean, like, I'm trying to build a business that one day I can sell and it will fund a retirement. So every day I'm thinking, if I make this decision, does it move towards that goal or away from it? And a lot of people are like, well, I'm just going to be in business and one day I'm going to sell. Well, what's the saying? The time to start thinking about selling your business is the day you start it.
The day you started. Yes, absolutely. Well, closing up this lovely talk with you, I have one final question for you before I let Cassidy wrap it up.
Okay.
We've been talking about learning things all the time. We have to teach people, teach entrepreneurs what they should and can do. But there's one thing you had to unlearn in your career just to become successful.
I think you have to unlearn that other people's opinions of what you do matters. And I struggle with this myself every day. I'm a people pleaser through and through. And I agonized this morning for 40 minutes over whether to wear a sport coat or not. And I thought of all the people in my life. My father would say, wear it. My girlfriend would say, whatever. Why are you having this discussion with yourself? A friend would be like, dude, you do this all the time. You're always overdressed. Someone else would say, what's your brand? I had to finally just say, you know what? I feel comfortable in the sport coat. It's Bob. I'm doing the interview. All the rest of you, silence. It's my call. And I find when I coach business owners, that's what I bring to them. A sounding board where they can go, I have a crazy idea. And I go, oh, tell me about it. And then it's like, well, that's not so crazy. You think? God, I talked to 4 other people and they were like, it's the craziest idea in the world. I'm like, oh, are they experts on your business? No. And we listen to the voice way too often. So I'm trying to unlearn all those things that, what do we call it? Crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing a lot of things as an entrepreneur is really not a good thing. And when my owners, when I'm working with them on books, when they lean into who and what they are, unapologetically, those books just come together so much more easily than it's like, well, I'm worried if I say this, I might offend these people. Here's the thing. People like someone who has a strong point of view.
Strong opinion, yes.
Even if you don't agree with it, it's like, well, at least this guy stood up and said it. There's plenty of people that are going to say, this authority stuff this guy's talking about, it's crap. I don't believe it. Have at it. Come at me. I welcome the discussion because I know this is how I see the world. And if you have something that says opposite, I want to hear from you. I'm open to that. That's how I learn. That's how I grow. And I think for a lot of people as entrepreneurs, it's like, I don't want to step out and be me. I want to be kind of me, but I want me that everyone likes me. And even with employees, you're the great owner. Oh, I get coffee for everyone. I get soda, have lunch every Friday for people. I let them take off for their birthdays. Oh, great. How's the business doing? Well, it could be a lot better. My employees aren't really focused. Gee, I wonder why. Because you have your friend base with your employees, and you've got to be the owner. And when I'm coaching businesses, that tends to be a big issue. Like, oh, well, what did you do over? Oh, I went out with 3 of my employees. Really? Oh, yeah, we went to a concert. Like, okay. That's awkward on Monday. Did you drink? Oh, yeah. Awkward. So I think unlearning that we have to be everyone's friend, the people pleaser part, and that we have to consider every opinion. When to me, there are plenty of people, Sebastian, that probably told you, your idea is crazy. Dude, no one's going to answer all those questions. They're not going to do it. That's going to take 25 minutes, a half hour. No one has that information. I guarantee you heard that 1,000 times and said, no, this is how I'm going to roll. Get over it. And that's entrepreneurship to me. Entrepreneurship is letting all those voices come at you and then still going, I'm going to do it my way, and I'm going to make it work. And even if it doesn't work the way you thought, you're closer to the way that will work for you because you learned from doing it the way you wanted to do it the first time.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us, Bob.
Yes, sure. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. I hope I didn't talk too much.
Oh, no, of course. You talked the perfect amount. We're running at 30 minutes right now. So.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Before we leave, would you like to shout out anything or plug anything of yourself, social media, your company, all of that?
You can find me at SpearPointInk.com. It's SpearPointInk.com. And if you want a free document that will explain to you authority and give you some tips for how to figure out your own authority, you can go to SpearPointInk.com/TAC. T as in Tom, A as in Apple, C as in Charlie, and it will help you understand what authority really is and where you have it and where you don't, and give you some clues for moving forward.
Yes, that sounds perfect. Thank you so much again for joining us, for plugging in your stuff, for talking about authority and valuation with us today. And it has been such a lovely conversation. I hope all of you listeners have a great rest of your day, and thank you for listening to Business Owners Unfiltered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Head over to bestbonobos.com to learn more. With Best Bonobos, you can sell your business simply.